Very good afternoon. You're watching the Midday News on Rajya Sabha television. My name is Ashwarya Kapoor. All the biggest news stories from India and across the world coming up ahead. Let us start with the headlines. Indian Medical Association delegation meets Health Minister Dr Harshwat over ongoing strike of doctors. AIIMS Delhi calls off strike, gives 48 hours ultimatum to West Bengal Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee to meet the demands. PM to lead Niti Ayog Governing Council meeting today. Focus on drought situation, farm distress and development works in left-wing extremism districts. In Muzaffarpur, Bihar, death toll rises to 69 due to acute encephalitis syndrome. State government says efforts underway to provide 100 additional beds, 6 ambulances for Shri Krishna Medical College and Hospital. Centre also assures assistance. Prime Minister Modi arrives in Delhi after a productive Bishkek summit, thanks Kyrgyzstan's government for hospitality. SCO declaration calls for joint efforts to isolate nations sponsoring terror. And 2 ICC World Cup matches are scheduled for the day. Sri Lanka will take on defending champions Australia, while Afghanistan will face South Africa. With losses in all 3 matches, Afghanistan aims to get at least a point in its kitty. The top story this morning, under the chairmanship of Prime Minister Narendra Modi, the meeting of the Governing Council of Niti Ayog will be held at Rashtrapati Bhavan today. Various issues concerning water management, agriculture and rainwater harvesting as well as drought situation and its relief measures are slated to be discussed at the meeting. The agenda at the 5th Governing Council meeting of Niti Ayog will also focus on the internal security situation in the country with a specific focus on development in the left-wing extremism areas. Chief ministers of all states and heads of union territories along with several union ministers will attend the meet. The Vice Chairman of Niti Ayog, Rajiv Kumar, informed that the top agenda is reforms for agricultural transformation with a special emphasis on Agricultural Produce Marketing Company Act and the Essential Commodities Act of 1955.
यही है कि हम कैसे रेन वाटर हार्वेस्टिंग करें, कैसे इरिगेशन में उसका काम उसको और एफिशिएंट चलाएं, रिवर बेसिन डेवलपमेंट हो, वाटरशेड डेवलपमेंट हो, तो एक तो बहुत बड़ा मुद्दा यही है। और दूसरा, जैसा आपने कहा कि किसानों को लेकर ये कि उनको कितनी ज़्यादा हम फ्लेक्सिबिलिटी दे सकते हैं कि वो अपने उत्पादन को जहाँ मर्जी आए बेचें, और जिसकी वजह से जो हमारा जो ये जो एक्ट है हमारा APMC एक्ट, उसकी जगह हम दूसरा कोई एक्ट लाएं, हमने मॉडल बना भी लिया है।
Our colleague Panchanan Mishra is joining us live for more on that story. Very good afternoon, Panchanan. So this is the 5th meeting of the Niti Ayog's the Governing Council today, and it is very important because the issues that are affecting especially farmers are going to be discussed, including drought situation in the country, and also security concerns in Maoist affected districts will be high on agenda. Tell us more about the meeting, and there are reports that Mamata Banerjee is not attending the meeting. What more can you tell us?
Ashwarya, basically 5-point agenda is there in the Niti Ayog meeting, which is going to be held this afternoon at Rashtrapati Bhavan. And this 5-point agenda is dominated by farmers' issue, the farmers' distress basically. And how we conserve water conservation is high on agenda, aspirational districts and also development work in left-wing extremism area. But the focus will be on farmers because as the Met Department has predicted also and government is understanding that in several parts of the country there may be a drought situation. So how the farmers can be given relief? As we know that doubling farmers' income, the scheme was led by Niti Ayog and government has implemented it. So the same kind of schemes may be given to farmers, and also new market for the farmers like APMC Act is right now is in place. But apart from APMC Act, how a different market, a more productive market can be achieved for the farmers for selling their produce. So these are basic agenda for this first meeting in the NDA-2 government, and states will give its representation, state will give its advices, and center will implement it. And also there will be a common minimum program between states and the center, and we may see that there is a good schemes may come out from this Niti Ayog meeting.
All right. Thank you so much, Panchanan, for all those updates. You keep tracking those developments at Niti Ayog. And on to the big story on the doctors' strike, and the Indian Medical Association delegation met with the Union Health Minister Dr Harshwat today over the ongoing strike of doctors in West Bengal. Now, scores of doctors from several government hospitals in Delhi also today joined the protest in solidarity with their striking colleagues in Kolkata. Now, doctors at the centre-run Lady Hardinge Medical College and Hospital, as well as the RML Hospital and the Delhi government facilities such as the Sanjay Gandhi Memorial Hospital and DDU Hospital boycotted work and held protests. However, the doctors of All India Institute of Medical Sciences in Delhi have called off their protest today, and they have given a 48-hour ultimatum to West Bengal Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee to meet the demands of the protesting doctors.
All the residents, junior resident and senior resident, they are back to work. Protest is continuing right now, and we will definitely do the protest in the form of symbolic by wearing the black badges and bandages and helmets. We have given 48 hours ultimatum to the Kolkata government and the Health Minister of Kolkata. If the condition is still worse, we will definitely go for an indefinite strike from 17 onwards.
And on Friday, a majority of hospitals in Delhi had joined the countrywide agitation in support of the doctors in West Bengal on a call given by the Indian Medical Association and various resident doctors associations as well. Now, IMA has called for a nationwide strike on 17th of June with the withdrawal of non-essential health services. Doctors across India are protesting in solidarity with their colleagues in West Bengal. Government doctors in Uttar Pradesh wore black bands on Friday to join the cause, and in Maharashtra, resident doctors went on a day-long strike to support the protesting West Bengal doctors, as well as services at the state-run Goa Medical College and Hospital and its facilities were also partially affected on Friday, as several doctors went on a one-day strike. Meanwhile, the protesting junior doctors have yet again turned down Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee's invitation for a meeting at the State Secretariat, which was called to resolve the impasse, and they continued their protest for the fifth consecutive day today. The doctors who are protesting against the assault on two of their colleagues at NRS Medical College and Hospital in Kolkata have sought unconditional apology from Mamata Banerjee, and they have set 6 conditions for the state government in order to withdraw their stir. And earlier on Friday, Health Minister Dr Harshwat also wrote a letter to West Bengal Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee, and he asked Mamata Banerjee to intervene in the matter and provide a safe working environment for the doctors. Dr Harshwat also extended his support to the doctors' demand for a law to protect them. And our colleague Mohammad Fateh Tipu is now joining us live from the national capital for more on this story. Mohammad Fateh, now the Indian Medical Association has launched a 3-day nationwide protest from Friday to express their solidarity with the doctors' agitation in West Bengal. Of course, we understand that the AIMS doctors only held a token strike for one day, but the services, the medical facilities and the services in rest of the hospitals in Delhi have been affected. Tell us more.
देखिए ऐश्वर्या, जिस तरीके से हड़ताल जारी है अभी भी पूरे देश में, कल भी हड़ताल थी, आज भी देशव्यापी हड़ताल एक तरीके से है और आईएमए और डीएमए दोनों ने मिल करके अभी भी वो अपनी मांग पे अड़े हुए हैं कि जो 6 शर्तें पश्चिम बंगाल सरकार से डॉक्टरों की है, जिसमें से एक शर्त ये है कि बिना शर्त वो डॉक्टर माफ़ी मांगे, तो इस पर अभी भी वो अड़े हुए हैं और उन्होंने 48 घंटे का अल्टीमेटम दिया है कि वो हमारी शर्तों को मानने, लिहाजा अगर वो शर्त नहीं मानते हैं तो 19 राज्यों समेत पूरे देश में वो 17 जून को, जो कि पार्लियामेंट का सत्र भी शुरू होने वाला है। 17 तारीख को वो एक देशव्यापी हड़ताल बुलाएंगे और आगे की रूपरेखा तय करेंगे। देखिए, बहुत साफ बात है जिस तरीके से हिंसात्मक कार्रवाई हुई है डॉक्टर के साथ में कैलकाटा मेडिकल कॉलेज में, जिस तरह से उनके एक परिजन की मौत हुई और डॉक्टरों से उन्होंने दुर्व्यवहार किया। तो निश्चित रूप से डॉक्टरों का मानना है कि डॉक्टर जिंदगी और मौत ईश्वर के हाथ में होती है और डॉक्टर सिर्फ जरिया होता है, ईश्वर का दूसरा रूप होता है एक सेवा करने के लिए। लिहाजा ये मामला पूरी तरीके से देश में एकजुटता दिखा रहा है डॉक्टरों के लिहाज से। तो फिलहाल ऐश्वर्या, देखने वाली बात होगी किस तरीके से, हालांकि मुख्यमंत्री ममता बनर्जी ने सोशल मीडिया के माध्यम से भावुक अपील भी की है कि वो हड़ताल को वापस लें, लेकिन लगातार डॉक्टर अपनी मांगों पे अड़े हुए हैं कि वो हमारी शर्त को पहले माने और केंद्रीय अस्पताल सुरक्षा कानून बने जो पूरे देश में लागू हो, सोशल सिक्योरिटी इनको सुनिश्चित हो, उसके बाद में कहीं जा करके वो स्ट्राइक को रोल बैक करेंगे। फिलहाल देखने वाली बात होगी कि आने वाले समय में 17 जून को किस तरह से ये हड़ताल अपना रूप लेती है। ऐश्वर्या।
All right. Thank you so much, Tipu, for all those updates there. So no relief in sight as far as that nationwide strike is concerned because the protesting junior doctors have turned down Mamata Banerjee's invitation for a meeting with them at the state secretariat. How the impasse will be resolved, we have to wait and watch. And now news from Bihar's Muzaffarpur district where the death toll has risen to 69 with more children dying of acute encephalitis syndrome in the Muzaffarpur district of Bihar. Now, State Health Minister Mangal Pandey had visited SK Medical College and Hospital in Muzaffarpur and he took stock of the situation. He also announced that 6 more ambulances will be made available and a 100-bed new ward will also made operational as soon as possible. At least 250 cases of acute encephalitis syndrome have been reported in the last 14 days in Muzaffarpur. The disease has already affected 222 blocks of 12 districts, especially Muzaffarpur, Vaishali, Shior and East Champaran. Chief Minister Nitish Kumar has directed the officials to ensure that preventive measures are undertaken in affected districts. And earlier this week, a 7-member centre's multidisciplinary team had also visited the state to review the situation. On to some other news. After a successful SCO summit, Prime Minister Narendra Modi arrived in the national capital today early morning. The Prime Minister called for a greater cooperation among the SCO countries in combating terrorism, promoting economy, alternate energy and healthcare, as he outlined India's commitment to peace and economic prosperity in the region. On the sidelines of the summit, Prime Minister Modi held bilateral meetings with the Chinese President Xi Jinping, Russian President Vladimir Putin and Afghan President Ashraf Ghani. And Prime Minister Narendra Modi thanked Kyrgyz government and its people for hosting a productive SCO summit. He wrote in a tweet that the summit will boost multilateral cooperation and lead to many positive outcomes. The Prime Minister also thanked the Kyrgyz President for the hospitality. And earlier, the Prime Minister addressed the Shanghai Cooperation Organization Summit in Bishkek on Friday, highlighting the spirit and ideals of the SCO to strengthen cooperation in the fight against terrorism. The Prime Minister said that countries that are sponsoring, aiding and funding terrorism must be held accountable. Here are the details.
In a veiled reference to Pakistan, Prime Minister Modi said India's neighbour continues to spread terrorism and without putting a check on its designs, no progress to ensure peace and cooperation can be achieved in the region. The Prime Minister's sentiments found place in the Shanghai Cooperation Organization Summit Declaration.
इस खतरे से निपटने के सभी मानवतावादी ताकतों को अपने-अपने संकीर्ण दायरे से निकलकर एकजुट हो जाना चाहिए। आतंकवाद को प्रोत्साहन, समर्थन और वित्त प्रदान करने वाले राष्ट्रों को जिम्मेदार ठहराना जरूरी है। एससीओ सदस्यों को आतंकवाद का सफाया करने के लिए एससीओ रेड्स के तहत सहयोग की पूरी क्षमता का इस्तेमाल करना चाहिए।
The Prime Minister also suggested a 5-point plan titled Health to deepen cooperation among member nations. The acronym stood for cooperation in healthcare, economy, alternate energy, literature and culture, terror-free society and humanitarian assistance.
आर्थिक सहयोग हमारे लोगों के भविष्य का आधार है। एक पक्षपात और संरक्षणवाद ने किसी का भला नहीं किया। हमें विश्व व्यापार संगठन पर केंद्रित एक नियम आधारित पारदर्शी भेदभाव रहित खुली और समावेशी बहुपक्षीय व्यापार प्रणाली की आवश्यकता है.
The Prime Minister also said despite constraints, India on its own tried to connect with Central Asian countries. Without naming China, he said connectivity projects must not violate the national sovereignty of other countries.
Issues which really came up was, apart from the need for better connectivity, he also touched upon such things as renewable energy, environment protection and solar energy.
Prime Minister Modi said India will promote tourism among other member countries and also establish a 24/7 helpline for tourists from the SCO region.
The document of the anti-narcotic strategy and the program of action. Then, like I just told you about the inter-regional cooperation and the heads of regions forum, and as also 3 documents which were assigned were on healthcare, on environment and on sports cooperation.
Modi also assured all cooperation to Russia, the next president of SCO. He also committed participation in all the initiatives taken by the SCO in the future.
After Bishkek summit, presidency of SCO will go to Russia, and Prime Minister Narendra Modi has suggested 5-point program that he calls Health for the Success of SCO. And those programs include fight against terrorism, and he emphatically said that without stopping terrorism, no peace and prosperity can be achieved in this area. Akhilesh Suman for Rajya Sabha Television with camera person Yogesh Agrawal in Bishkek of Kyrgyzstan.
And Prime Minister Narendra Modi also held a summit-level talks with Kyrgyz President Jeenbekov in Bishkek on Friday. Prime Minister Modi and President Jeenbekov held one-on-one meeting followed by delegation-level talks and discussed stepping up their bilateral engagement to the next level. They also discussed exploring new areas of cooperation. Both countries decided to boost relationship in defense and security, trade and investment, health, education and development cooperation, among other areas.
भारत और किर्गिज रिपब्लिक सदियों पुराने मित्र हैं. आपके मानस और भारत का रामचरित मानस हमारी सांस्कृतिक घनिष्ठता दर्शाता है. आधुनिक समय में द्विपक्षीय संबंधों के सभी क्षेत्रों में हमारा सहयोग है. आज हम ऐतिहासिक निर्णय लेने जा रहे हैं. हमने तय किया है कि हमारे संबंधों को स्ट्रेटेजिक पार्टनरशिप के स्तर तक ले जाएं. ये हमारे संबंधों के उज्जवल भविष्य को आकार देगा. हमने रक्षा एवं सुरक्षा क्षेत्र में अपने सहयोग को बढ़ाने और सशस्त्र बलों के बीच संबंधों को मजबूत करने का भी निर्णय लिया. हमारे रियायती लाइन ऑफ क्रेडिट की मौजूदा व्यवस्था के अंतर्गत किर्गिज रिपब्लिक की आवश्यकताओं के अनुरूप हम सहयोग करने के लिए प्रतिबद्ध हैं. किर्गिज रिपब्लिक को $200 मिलियन का लाइन ऑफ क्रेडिट देने का प्रस्ताव करते हुए मुझे खुशी हो रही है. इसे किर्गिज रिपब्लिक के व्यवसाय विकास और अर्थव्यवस्था में भारतीय कंपनियों की अधिक भागीदारी को सुनिश्चित किया जा सकता है. एक्सेलेंसी, रिस्ट्रिक्टेड टॉक में काफी विषयों पर हमारी चर्चा हुई है.
And soon after the delegation-level talks, 15 agreements were signed between the two countries in various sectors. PM Modi also announced a $200 million line of credit for Kyrgyzstan and said that both countries have decided to add a strategic dimension to their ties.
हमारे साझा क्षेत्र में समृद्धि, शांति और स्थिरता के लिए हमारा साझा दृष्टिकोण भी है. एक्सेलेंसी, भारत और किर्गिज रिपब्लिक जैसे लोकतांत्रिक और विविधता भरे समाजों को आज आतंकवाद से सबसे बड़ा खतरा है. हम आतंकवाद और कट्टरवाद के समाधान के लिए एकजुट हैं. आतंकवाद के प्रायोजकों को जवाबदार ठहराना होगा. पूरी दुनिया को यह संदेश देने की जरूरत है कि आतंकवाद को किसी भी तरीके से उचित नहीं माना जा सकता.
And Prime Minister Narendra Modi also attended and inaugurated the Indo-Kyrgyzstan Business Forum as well. And at the forum, PM Modi said that India and Kyrgyzstan will make a 5-year plan for improving bilateral trade ties. He also said that better connectivity was a major ingredient for increasing trade in the region. He also called upon the business community of both India and Kyrgyzstan to tap the potential for mutual benefit.
भारत एक विशाल मार्केट तो है ही, हमारे देश की युवा प्रतिभा और उत्साही इनोवेटर्स 5 ट्रिलियन डॉलर की अर्थव्यवस्था बनाने के हमारे लक्ष्य को हासिल करने में महत्वपूर्ण भूमिका निभाएंगे। मैं बताना चाहूँगा कि उपयुक्त माहौल बनाने के लिए हमने डबल टैक्सेशन अवॉइडेंस एग्रीमेंट को अंतिम रूप दे दिया है। साथ ही बायलैटरल इन्वेस्टमेंट ट्रीटी पर हम सक्रिय रूप से बातचीत कर रहे हैं। इनसे निवेश के लिए मजबूत आधार मिलेगा। हमने द्विपक्षीय व्यापार को बढ़ाने के लिए पंचवर्षीय रोड मैप तैयार किया है। किर्गिज रिपब्लिक यूरेशियन इकोनॉमिक यूनियन का सदस्य है। हम यूरेशियन इकोनॉमिक यूनियन के साथ व्यापार को बढ़ाने के लिए प्रेफरेंशियल ट्रेड एग्रीमेंट पर भी काम कर रहे हैं। व्यापार को सुगम बनाने में बेहतर कनेक्टिविटी महत्वपूर्ण भूमिका निभाती है।
An External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar met the President of Tajikistan, Emomali Rahmon, in Dushanbe, Tajikistan today. Jaishankar is in Tajikistan to attend the 5th Conference on Interaction and Confidence Building Measures in Asia 2019 Summit. And he met the President of Tajikistan. He earlier also met with the Foreign Minister of Bangladesh, A.K. Abdul Momen, and the Foreign Minister of Bahrain, Sheikh Khalid Al Khalifa. Former Prime Minister Dr Manmohan Singh's term ended in the Rajya Sabha on Friday after 28 long years, with the Congress lacking the numbers in the Assam legislature to ensure his re-election. Dr Manmohan Singh retired from the Rajya Sabha on 14th of June. Singh, the then Finance Minister in the P.V. Narasimha Rao government, had debuted in the House on 1st of October 1991 from Assam, and he represented the state for 5 consecutive terms. Singh was the leader of the House during his tenures as Prime Minister and the leader of opposition from 1998 to 2004. And now an update on cyclone Vayu. Well, it is moving westwards now from the coast and is about 390 kilometers west of Diu and 280 kilometers west-southwest of Porbandar. Earlier today, Union Ministry of Earth Sciences informed that cyclone Vayu is likely to recurve and hit Kutch on 17th and 18th of June. Now, this came just hours after Gujarat Chief Minister Vijay Rupani announced that cyclone Vayu posed no threat to the state as it had moved westward. But cyclone Vayu changed its course yet again and is currently moving westwards away from the Gujarat coast. Cyclone Vayu was to hit the Gujarat coast on Thursday afternoon, but then it changed its course. It skirted the Gujarat coast, affecting Gir Somnath, Junagadh, Diu and Porbandar. Prime Minister Narendra Modi's radio program Man Ki Baat, which was discontinued during the Lok Sabha elections, will resume from 30th of June. In his tweet, the Prime Minister has asked everyone to share their thoughts on the themes and issues that matter to the public and has invited ideas on the topics for the radio program. Now, this will be the first Man Ki Baat episode after Modi assumed office for the second time. And after extending the deadline for several times, India has decided to impose additional custom duties on 29 US products, including almonds, walnuts and pulses, with effect from 16th of June. A notification in this regard will be issued soon by the Finance Ministry. Now, the move will hurt the American exporters of these 29 items, as now they have to pay duties on these products. India, however, would get about $217 million additional revenue from such imports. Remember, the government had on 21st of June 2018 decided to impose these duties in retaliation to the US's decision of significantly hiking the custom duties on certain steel and aluminium products from India. Sports news now. In hockey, India defeated Japan by 7 goals in the semi-finals at the Kalinga Stadium in Bhubaneswar on Friday. And with this win over Japan, India has now qualified for the Olympic qualifiers to be held later this year. India will play against South Africa in the finals today at 7:15 p.m. Earlier, South Africa beat US in the other semi-final match to reach the final. And news now from the world of cricket. Well, today Sri Lanka will take on defending champion Australia in London at 3 p.m. and South Africa will face Afghanistan in the other match in Cardiff at 6 p.m. And talking about the points table, New Zealand continues to be at the top with the 7 points, followed by hosts England at the second spot with 6 points. And Australia also has 6 points, but they are third on the table. And India are fourth with 5 points. So Sri Lanka with 4 points is at the 5th spot. And that is the wrap on this edition of Midday News. Thanks for watching.